Dustin at Vintage 55 Restorations here. Another episode of Vintage 55 Garage. This episode is about not being able to put your bike on a stand. It's a 1966 Yamaha Trailmaster, and it's got a pretty cool story to it, actually. We're here in front of Yamaha Corporation headquarters in Cypress, California. No, this isn't a big budget video that flew me out to some place. It's like 2 blocks from our shop, and I thought it'd be cool to do it in front of it. But anyway, I'm here to talk about this little Yamaha, and basically there's not much to it. It's a little tiny bike, came out in '65. This is the original manual that I got. But basically, Yamaha came out with this, which is the 80, Trailmaster 80, to compete with the Honda 90, which everybody knows about. Everybody thinks this is a Honda 90, but it's not. And came out in '64. It went to 1969, and it was pretty instrumental in the boom of motorcycle ridership. Basically basically in the '60s, motorcycle registration pretty much doubled, and that was because of little bikes like this, little ones that you could basically get on and go and get to work and come back. Yamaha Motors Corporation started in 1955 with a German copy of one of their bikes. I forget which one it was, but they basically just ripped off German bikes at that point. But it's based on the Y61. It actually shares a rear sprocket, which you can switch out on these to get a higher range. It bolts right over. The motor on this thing, it's a little 2-stroke. It's a Y61 rotary jet 80, which is kind of a strange little motor. The carb is actually under the cover. Everything's kind of self-contained. It's pretty interesting. And let me tell you a little more history, and then I'll get to the actual bike. But the 80 is actually 73cc 2-stroke, but it was called an 80 because that compares a little bit better with the Honda 90 than Honda 90 versus a Yamaha 73. It sounds a lot less. 80 sounds more. 4 speeds. Originally new, it was priced at $365 in 1966, which obviously made it very entry level. The carb, like I said, is in the side of the crankcase, not the cylinder. It's 150 pounds full, oil and gas, not very heavy. You can lift it into a truck bed pretty easily. The top speed is 50 miles an hour, so it doesn't go very fast. Definitely doesn't go on the highways. But like I said, it was meant for around town. The 65 model, not the 64 when it was introduced, 65 model actually had what's called an auto loop system, which rarely ever worked. It's more to brake. This one does, kind of. It leaks all over the place internally. But the auto loop system does work right now. I'm probably just going to bypass it. But what that does is a 2-stroke engine, you have to have your oil and your gas together. Normally in a 2-stroke, like a lawnmower or something like that, you just buy pre-mixed gas, oil, or mix it yourself in the right ratio and pour it into the gas tank. To remedy the, you go into the gas station filling up and then having to measure something and pour oil in at the same time, they had an auto loop system, which was a separate tank, and it fed it, and it's based on your throttle. So you give it more gas, it gives it more oil. But if that combination is not right, you can blow up your engine. So, back at the time, you can get it serviced real easy, and then it was not a problem. But now you can't find parts at all. The 16-inch wheel on this went until '68, 17-inch after that. It's a stamped steel frame. There's not a frame like you would think of on a normal motorcycle. It's just, you can't really see under the tank. you can see a bit of it here. It's literally just two pieces of steel that are molded, that are stamped together, kind of like a shell. That's the frame. See, there's nothing up here really holding it together. There's a skid plate at the bottom. These were meant to be kind of off-road bikes. The bike, I've been saying around town bikes. The bike that this was based on was the around town bike, a little bit more street bike. This is the kind of off-road version, the T model, which is the Trailmaster, and that was meant to just go on trails, not dirt biking like we know now, jumping off things and going crazy, but just going up trails like you would with a horse, but with a motorcycle. That's why it has these knobby tires. These are actually the original tires on this. This skid plate on the bottom kind of protects everything. The exhaust is mounted really high so it doesn't hang up on things. But that being said, even for a trail bike, it was street legal. The plate and the light, everything, it is street legal. Well, not now necessarily, but then it was. Turn signals were a option, so this turn signal switch does not work. This one did not come with the option. It's literally, everything is there, you just need to hook a wire up and then you got the option. The gas tank was actually, it's kind of known as a really pretty gas tank. A lot of customizers have used these in the past and adapted them to other things. The little knee plate so you can hug it, you know, and hold on to it a little bit better for off-road. This is the auto lube tank that I was referring to earlier. This is your sight. You can see if there's oil in there, and this actually goes down into the engine as the carb, which is in here, feeds the gas in. This is the air filter, one spark plug. This is your Kickstart. Does not have an electric start. Single seat, obviously. This was first registered in 1966. It was a 66. It had a bunch of tape registrations over that I took off. Your ignition is off, on with lights. You don't have a switch for your headlight, tail light. It's just a different way of turning on the bike. Your petcock valve does give you a reserve. Like I said, 4-speed, both sides shift, one mirror. Your gauge is up here. All that's here is your speedometer, which generously goes up to 80, considering I told you top speed's 50 miles an hour. Neutral light, safety light, and actually I don't know what the F is. I'm sorry, I didn't look that up. That's never come on. But all your gauges are self-contained right there. Your headlight, obviously, like I said, if you turn it on with lights, you have your light once you turn it on. It's not on right now because the bike's not on, but cool little bike. Like I said, doesn't go very fast, but it's a cool little bike. So history on this specific bike. This is my father-in-law's bike, and I say is because I'm not allowed to sell it. So if I'm not allowed to sell it, it's not mine. But it's my bike now. The deal was he had this, and if I could get it running and let him borrow it for a weekend, then I could keep it if I didn't sell it. So the story behind that is Mike was Arizona. His grandpa had a place out in Arizona and had this bike there. And him and his cousins would go out, and whenever they'd visit his grandpa, they would take it out and go, you know, around the ranch and on the trails and all of that kind of stuff. And they would go have fun with it. And so he had good memories growing up of it. And it floated around. He got it when his grandfather died. He said he wanted the bike because there was good memories on it. But it was taken apart a little bit, and you know, never got put back together. So it sat for 30 years or something like that, 40 years. And anyway, got it running again, and blew his mind when he got to ride it. He loved it. It's got 1,205 miles on it, which is the original mileage. I think I've put 5 of those miles on it. So that 5 and 4 4 parts, that's me. But yeah, he sure had a good time taking this for the first time, and he hasn't taken it out there yet. He's going to take it with his cousins that he used to ride it with, and they're going to go out and ride it for a weekend. He hasn't taken me up on it yet, but he will. But cool little bike, cool little story. Cool to be in front of the Yamaha building with it. But yeah, so this is like I said, Justin. This has been V55 Restorations, another episode of V55 Garage. I'll see you guys later.
It's been a long time, but it's still running. Woo!